What's up, traders? Anthony Crudele here, and welcome to this week's episode of Develop Your Edge. In today's show, we have Matt Ratliff from InvestaQuant to show us futures traders how we can get an edge trading this week's options expiration. And in my final thoughts, we'll go to the charts, and I'll talk about Nasdaq and maybe a little bit of gold. But before we get Matt on the line, the micro E-mini options are here, everybody. You've been seeing me tweeting about it, doing shows on it. They're here. They're big. I've been getting a ton of questions about them. If you want to learn more about micro E-mini options, go to activetrader.cmegroup.com. All right, traders, hang tight while we get Matt on the line. Matt, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining me today, Matt. Now, look, I'm on your email list. I'm a subscriber to InvestaQuant. I love the product, and this is Develop Your Edge, everybody. So I want to talk about something that I use kind of away from the charts, but still kind of with the charts to help me with an edge, and that is InvestaQuant. And what I love about what you guys do, and forget about just the product. I mean, the product is great. Like I said, I use it. But your morning video, your afternoon video, which is free for everybody to go and watch, it talks about what's happening in the market right then and there. And then you go back and look at, I don't know, how many years of data does it go back?
Yeah, we've got data back to 2003, so about 17 years of data for most of our markets right now.
So about 17 years back of data. And then what you do is you put in what the probability of what the rest of the day or the beginning of the day will do based upon something that's happening that day. It could be anything from a news event, like you do things for unemployment numbers, Fridays, options expiration, all sorts of different things. So I want to talk to you a little bit about InvestaQuant, the software, and kind of how it all started. Give us a little bit of insight as to tell everybody what it actually is.
Yeah, so InvestaQuant got started actually back in 2008. We actually started off as a blog with our CEO, Scott Andrews, who's been on your show before, so I'm sure many people are familiar with him. He started a blog about 2008 that was focused around gap trading, and he was calling out gap trades and using some basic statistics to be able to find some higher probability days where the market was going to revert back to the prior day's closing price. And those turned out to be some really nice trading opportunities. He's able to share it along with some people that got excited about it and helped propel us to launch a full-blown company that does lots of research, which is where we're at today, 12 years after that, where we've got a research platform that is designed for traders of all types, new traders, experienced traders, discretionary traders, quantitative traders. It kind of fits the whole gamut. And it's a piece of software that's based up in the cloud, so you don't have to download anything. It hosts all the data, and it's a point-and-click interface that allows you to test pretty much anything that you're looking at in the market. So like you said, what I do in those morning videos, and I do them in the afternoon as well, is I typically just go in and take a look at what I'm seeing on the charts. You know, I'm a bit of a technician, so I like to stare at charts. I pick up on things that I think most people will find obvious on the charts that look at the charts, and we simply test those. So, has the market been moving higher and we're closing up at highs? Well, that's something that can be tested easily using the platform. And we can quantify what happens after that type of price action and come up with stats for the historical probability. Of course, that doesn't mean it's going to work out the next time, but it helps you to have a little bit more information to be able to trade along with. And for a guy like you, a guy like me, who's a little bit more discretionary, it can give us some nice statistics that we can trade along with. We can use our own price action order flow, whatever you use, whatever I use, to actually enter and take advantage of a bias that we are able to quantify using the platform with just a few clicks of the mouse. So it's very helpful in that. That's how I like to use it. But it's also helpful for people that are more interested in just quantitative trading, but they're not coders. You can go in there and you can start quantifying market conditions, patterns, indicators, all kinds of things with just a handful of clicks. 3 or 4 clicks, you can have some ideas tested in a matter of seconds. So it's really easy to use. And as have you seen some of the videos, it doesn't take me but 3 minutes to explain an idea I'm going to look at, go in and look at it, show you the results, and then kind of give you a little bit more information about how I'm viewing it. So it is a really powerful tool that can help you learn a lot more about the market and help get you positioned for the trading day.
Yeah, we're going to go to the charts here in a few minutes, and we're going to have you do one of your videos that you would normally do on YouTube, but you're going to do it with us here today on Develop Your Edge. And traders out there, the reason why I brought Matt on today to talk about this is because I think when we're talking about developing our edge, we don't look at statistics enough. A lot of us have ideas, even myself. I go back to all the years I was going through developing my strategy and trying to develop my edge. And eventually I got there, but I had a bunch of ideas that I didn't know if they worked or if they didn't work. And with this software, like you said, with a couple of clicks of a button, you could find out if there's actual probability there. And that helps you develop your edge. So before we go to the charts here, which we're going to do in here just about in a minute or two, explain to everybody kind of what we'll be looking at. How deep does the software go? I know a lot of people are like, well, how much can I test on it? What can I test on it? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the software has several different components. We're going to be looking at the Discover section of the platform. So there's a couple other sections that can help kind of feed you ideas to look at on a daily basis. There's places where you can actually save your research and be alerted on it. But what we're going to focus on more today is what we call Discover, and that's the code-free backtesting portion of the platform. So it'll allow you to test lots of different setups. You'll be able to examine things like where's the opening location at relative to the prior day's closing price or technical levels. You can describe price patterns in there. There's different libraries that have price patterns, market profile patterns. As far as I know, we're the only quantitative platform that can actually test market profile patterns, which is pretty cool because I enjoy looking at that stuff myself. But there's also indicators. We've got pre-built seasonality, market events, FOMC announcement, all of that kind of stuff. But there's a handful of different libraries that are available in there, and you're able to kind of just go into the library that makes sense for it to be in and find what it is you're looking for. And I think we've got probably close to 1,000 different individual, what we would call factors, which are just kind of different pieces of information that are used to classify the market. So there's a ton of stuff, and we'll focus on one or two things here in the next few moments.
Yeah, we're going to talk about options expiration, which is coming up here soon. So if you're ready, I'm ready.
Sounds great. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. All right, everybody. We'll be back in 30 seconds with Matt and I looking at InvestiQuant. Hang tight.
24/7 access to diverse global markets. Right here.
That's why I added stock index futures to my trading strategy. Now when I see ups and downs coming, I'm ready.
Well played.
Why trade with TradeStation? It's innovative, easy to use, and totally freaking sweet. With powerful tools to track and execute your trades and low per trade commissions on stocks, futures, and options. Upgrade your trade at tradestation.com.
Welcome back, traders. We now got Matt on the big screen, so let's jump over to the charts. Matt, in the previous segment, we talked about how options expiration is coming up this week. Show us how InvestiQuant can help our traders get an edge trading the E-mini S&P.
Sure. So what we can do is we can hop into the platform and see what exactly has happened on options expiration day. And in doing so, that can give us an idea of how we'll want to trade it that day. So the first thing we want to do is pick an instrument to test. I'm going to go ahead and pick the ES, so the S&P 500 E-mini contract. The setup that we're going to be looking at is what has happened historically when entering at the open of regular trading hours. So that's 9:30 a.m. Eastern time, and exiting at the close of regular trading hours. That's 4:15 p.m. Eastern time on options expiration day. So I've got the setup as the intraday open and a long already selected here. The exit end of day for the stop and target is going to get us out at 4:15 p.m. Eastern time. Now I'm going to go down to this market events section, and I'm going to find options expiration day from our list of reports and market events here. Once I find it, I'm just going to click equals to add it. And then lastly, I'm just going to put above a 200-day moving average, just so we have a little bit of market context on here, not a lot. But once I've got that, then I can click view results. And these are the results of what has happened historically if going long on options expiration day at the open and exiting at the close. And you can see this is set up as a long, and the equity curve is going nearly straight down, which means the longs have gotten ran over historically on this day. So you can see we've got 158 samples here dating back to 2003. The win rates on these about 45%. So that means 45% of these have ended up with what would be a green candlestick on the daily chart. So that means 45% closed above the open for the session. And if you look down here, average win, average loss, you can see the average loss quite a bit bigger than the average win. And that is really helpful because that can tell you which side the risk has been on historically. In fact, let me just click this view results distribution here, and we can see this visually. So this is a quick view of all of the results within this sample. And the taller the bars, the more often they have happened. And the farther to the extremes, the larger the moves have been. So if I look at this quickly, I can see there's a big sample right here of green bars that are pretty tall. And these are small winners. Once you get outside of this bar right here, this is a plus 6 points on the day. You can see they really drop off. Whereas on the downside, that plus 600 or minus $600 is this bar right here. And they are still very tall bars. And we have lots of outliers down here. So what this means to me is risk has been on the downside. And you may want to be positioning yourself to the short side for options expiration day, either on a mechanical type setup, or if you've got some discretionary skills, maybe waiting for a test of resistance and trying to get yourself positioned to capture some of these larger moves to the downside that have happened on options expiration day.
This is why I love this software, everybody, and I love Matt's daily videos. Matt, do me a favor and close out of this real quick. I want to go back to that chart. And for me, as a discretionary day trader, as all of you know, that's what I am. I have a system in place, and I don't trade off of using this. And of course, this is develop your edge and what can I do to be better? My goal is always to get better. I like probabilities like this because it shows me stats. It backs up what has happened. And you put in a long, right, Matt? And you said it was the stop was end of the day, target was end of the day. So we're really looking at not really a trade setup here, everybody. It's really like, how does the day end? Right, Matt? It's
right,
not
exactly. It's catching the daily bias. Of course, you can dig in and create a real intraday trading setup around it. But what we're showing here is what is the daily bias on options expiration day.
Yeah, and you go back to what you did. You talked about how it was above the 200-day moving average, which I thought was really interesting because if we're above the 200-day moving average, I think a lot of people would guess that it would be more positive to be long, but it's actually not. It's actually a day where it goes down. So it's not just about, for me, always about finding trades. It's about confirming or contradicting things that I'm looking at. That's why I love this, and I love your free videos. Is there anything else on here you want to share with our traders before I let you go today?
No, we'll keep it short here. There are a lot of other things that you can look at within this, and you can turn this into a more mechanical setup using stops and targets and that sort of thing. But we'll save that for another time.
No, absolutely. I know. And for me, with this coming week, options expiration, if I get a confirmation in the S&P for my strategy that gives me a sell signal, actually, this would be the great confirmation for me. So, Matt, thank you again so much for joining me. Hang tight, traders. I'll be right back with my final thoughts. Final thoughts for today, traders. I wanted to take you behind the scenes a little bit, showing you a product that I've been using the last couple of years to help me develop my edge. We went beyond the charts, but still kind of use the charts. And for discretionary day traders like us, that a lot of us are technical, we see a lot of things happening in the market, but do we know if it's an edge? Is it really an edge? And that's really why I like this software. And Matt's daily videos, he puts out 2 a day. I highly recommend you go and check them out. You could sign up for them at anthonycrudele.com/quant. And the nice people at InvestaQuant have offered everybody that listens to this show 15% off their product if you're interested in signing up. Now, let's take a look at the charts. Nasdaq. That's the big talk this year, right? And I talked about this last week. When a market's going straight up and the Bollinger Bands are open, we don't look to get short until when? My process is when the Bollinger Bands get flat and start to come in, I look for shorts. That's what we saw a couple of days into this move here. And really, we had a sharp move. Looks kind of similar to what gold looked like coming off of their high. Consolidation now. Remember, you can get my indicator for free at anthonycrudele.com. What am I seeing here in the Nasdaq? 11,018 is key for me. This is that light blue support. This will tell me, instead of looking at a trend line, is the trend still intact? Everybody talks about bull market, bear market, trends. To me, for my strategy, this will tell me if the primary trend is going to stay intact, which has been up, my level. And I use the 50-day moving average, not because I trade off of it, because it's confirmation. That's it. How strong are we in trend? We're back to the 50-day moving average, which is roughly 11,100. This is the Nasdaq continuations. We've rolled to the December contract now. And 11,018 is that daily support. So I've been trading the Nasdaq a little bit this week. As long as we keep hitting and bouncing off that level, I'm going to continue to look for longs. If we start to fail to hold there, I start to look for shorts. I hate lines in the sand, but for me, this area, there's a lot of confirmation. If this holds, I think we can keep pushing back up. I think 11,546 is very possible. When we start getting daily closes above there, 12,074 becomes a possibility. Daily closes below 11,018, 10,225 is a possibility. That's a very important area for me that I'm keeping a very close eye on in the Nasdaq. Now, let's take a look at gold. Quick little thoughts here on gold. Now, I've been talking about gold and I've been in a gold position for several weeks now. And I've talked about, I actually just said how that Nasdaq chart looks kind of like gold. Sure it does, doesn't it? Gold didn't quite get to light blue. Nasdaq did. Gold is holding above orange. That's bullish to me. Keeps holding above orange, holding above 50-day moving average. I've talked about how I've been in a long position using the micros. I've been getting in and out of it now because it's just not following through. So it's one of those things where I'm bullish and I'm going back to more day trading in it now. On dips, using short-term charts for support. I buy them and been covering them intraday. Holding it through all of this chop has been tough, so I just started to see that it wasn't following through. Trying to keep small core positions on for extended rallies in case they do happen. But a daily close below 1930 now, I shift my thinking and I turn bearish gold, at least temporarily, and then 1828 becomes a possibility. Remember, everybody, I'm not telling you what to think. I'm teaching you how I think. That's what's important. Remember, everybody, if you have any questions or comments, please put them down below. And you can follow me on Twitter at Anthony Crudele. And don't forget to check out Instagram, Anthony C. Crudele. That's a wrap for today. See you next week.